Good afternoon, everyone. Tomorrow, the Mishnayos starts Masechtas Kailim and Seder Taharos. So today, I decided that I'm going to give a preface to Masechtas Kailim and Seder Taharos in general, so that we'll be prepared for this last journey in the sixth Seder of Shas. So, Tumah,
which Mishnah you said?
We're doing a Hakdama now. The Tumah works in a descending order. That means that as the Tumah passes from one thing to the next, it weakens. So it starts with an Avatama, the origin of the Tumah, and then what it touches becomes a Rishon, and then a Sheni, etc. The exception is a corpse itself. A corpse itself is called an Avi Avois HaTumah. Now the corpse is an Avi Avois HaTumah when it touches a person, when a person touches it, the person becomes himself an Avatuma. So that's the only case of an origin that comes from somewhere else. So the mace is an Avi Avois HaTumah, and when a person touches it, the person becomes an Avatuma. The other examples of an Avatuma are the Shmoyne Shvatzim, the 8 enumerated Shvatzim, like a toad, a lizard, perhaps a porcupine, a mouse. There are 8 shvatzim. Some of their identities are in question. Some say one of them is a beaver. Some say one of them is a mole. But the 8 shvatzim are an avatuma. A nevela, an animal that was without shchita. A nevela is an avatuma. A nida is an avatuma. A zav or a zava is an avatuma. Something that has taras is an avatuma. These are all originating tumah. Now, generally, when an avatuma touches something, it becomes a rishon. There is an exception that it says b'chalal cherev harihu kechal, that if metal comes in contact with a tamei mace, so it also becomes an avatuma. But that's an exception. In general, tumah weakens. So when an avatuma touches something, it becomes a rishon. A rishon touches something, it becomes a sheni. And that's the end of the line by chulin. By chulin, it can't be more than Sheni. If Sheni touches a chulin, it's not matameh anymore. By truma, which is more sensitive, more holy, it could become a shlishi. Kachim, the holiest, can become a revi. Now, in terminology of tuma, there's pasal and there's tameh. So something that is tamei but can't transmit tumah further, like a chulin that's a sheni, it's possible. Chulin that's a rishon is tamei, because it can transmit tumah further. So therefore, chulin that's a rishon is tamei, it's a sheni, it's possible. Truma that's a sheni is tamei, it's a shlishi, it's possible. Kachim that's a shlishi is tamei, that is a revi, is possible. Now, a keli, we're going to be learning Masechtas Kailim, a keli can only become tamei from an av. A rishon that touches a keli cannot be matamei a keli. So a keli can become tamei from a maze, or it can become tamei from an avatuma. But if a rishon touches a keli can't become tamei from a rishon. Now, food or liquids can become tamei from a rishon as well, and they can become a sheni, or by truma shlishi, or by kachim revi. Now, food is different than drink, than beverage. Food, in order to become tamei, needs another step, and that's hechsher. It has to be muchsher l'kabel tumah. It has to be moistened to be mekabel tumah. A liquid doesn't have to be moistened to be mekabel tumah. Now, the Kailim themselves, there's a difference on the material of a Kailim. So, a metal Kailim, you could be metame from the inside, from the outside. A clay cheres, an earthenware vessel, can only become tamei me'aviro when something goes into its interior. It's not mekabel tumah from its achurav, from its outside. Something touches a tamei on its outside, it's not mekabel tumah. A clay eitz, a wooden keli. Generally, we have a klal by wooden kalim. There are exceptions, but generally we have a klal by wooden kalim that pshute clay eitz ain't a mekabel tumah. That flat clay eitz that doesn't have a base kibble, it doesn't have an interior, is not mekabel tumah. Only if it has a interior, a base kibble, is it mekabel tumah. A clay matchis, on the other hand, is mekabel tumah even if it's flat. Right? Now, a keli is only mekabel tumah when it's nigmar malachtai. So, for example, if you have a shoe that's still on the mold in the shoemaker's shop, it's not going to be mekabel tumah because it's not nigmar malachtai. A keli is only going to be mekabel tumah when it's nigmar malachtai. And there's a whole discussion by a lot of different kalim when they are considered to be nigmar malachtan, when it's, let's say, if it's yitzerfei bekifshim, if it's finished in the furnace, or if it was rinsed with water afterwards. There's all kinds of machloikis by different kalim when they are considered to be nigmar malachtai. And therefore, if the keli is broken and it cannot be used for its purpose anymore, even if it had a tumah, it won't be tummy anymore because it ceased to be a keli. There are different ways to convey tumah. The most simple way is maga. If the tummy touches the item, so that's tumas maga. The next case is masa. Masa is if the tamei item is carried, even if you don't come in contact with the item, but you're carrying it, that's tumas masa. There's then a more complex tumah called tumas hesed. Tumas hesed, which let's say a zav is metame behesed, is when the tumah moves the item, even if it doesn't come in contact or carry the item. Then there's tumas medris, or what we call mishkav u'moshev, and that's that a zav or a nida that sits upon something that is made for sitting, or lies upon something that's made to lie upon, that makes it tumas medris. Then there is, by very serious tumah, like a mace, tumas oil. Tumas oil is when you're under the same roof as the mace. You become tamei because you're under the same roof as the mace. There's also a tumas oil if the mace roofs over your head. So then that would also be tumas oil. Of course, that's the reason why kahanim can't go into the funeral home when the mace is there, because they can't go under the same roof as the mace. Now today, we are all Suffolk Tameh. The reason why we're all Suffolk Tameh is because we assume that we're all Tmei Mace, and without the ash of the Parah Aduma being sprinkled upon us on the third and the seventh day, we cannot remove that Tumah. So that therefore we're all considered to be Tameh, and that's why, for example, we cannot go up to the Makam HaMikdash, because to go up to the Makam HaMikdash when you're Tameh is an Isur Karis. It's not a small thing. You see pictures of people going up there, they're flirting with serious Karis. It's like sleeping with a sister. Although a Kayin is already considered to be Tameh, he's still not allowed to become further Tameh, which is an interesting idea. And although going to the mikveh doesn't make us tahar, there is still an advantage to go to the mikveh. What that advantage is a question, but there's still an advantage to go to the mikveh, even though the going to the mikveh does not make us tahar. So that's a little bit of I know you're going to all be excited to sink your teeth into all the details, and you're chomping by the bit, but this is a little bit of a hakdama to what we're going to be discussing now until the end of Shas. I also want to say the sound machine is missing from the bathroom. I don't know how a sound machine is missing from the bathroom. I don't know if somebody by accident flushed it down the toilet. But the sound machine is private property and was put there to be Mezaka Harabim. So I don't know if maybe somebody is annoyed by it. Please put it back. It's not yours, and it was decided that that's an advantage, that people that are in the bathroom shouldn't hear Hashem's name, and also people don't have to hear people's sounds when they're in the bathroom. So it was decided that it's a good thing to have. So even though you might not like it, please make sure that it gets back into the bathroom. Again, we remind you that the last night's Svira was 35, so please remember to count Svira. We have interesting Agadata Gemara tonight at 8:40 by the Daf. Rav Chananya ben